It is declared that today, on the 23rd of September of the year 2019, at 12 o'clock a.m., Jillian Tan, the world-renowned Broadway performer and former medical researcher and biochemist, is dead.
Imaginary News on Channel Zero, here with the story about the deceased actress and musician, Jillian Tan. I'm Jillian Tan, here with Jillian Tan for an exclusive interview about the departed star and her dreadful departure. Stay tuned! How does it feel to be dead, Jillian? The same. Could you elaborate more on the subject, please? Well, I'm not quite sure that I've died yet, at least not completely. And what do you mean by that? Well, I think that I'm going to heaven soon, but it seems like God doesn't want me to go yet. Perhaps to finish my project? Project? Yes, I was in a creative writing class 9 years ago, and I was required to create a project about where I'm from. It's a bit of a complicated subject, but I suppose you could sum up my situation by stating that I live in a time paradox. Well, that's very interesting. Could we move on, please? Can you tell us anything about your childhood? Your favorite memories? Honestly, I cannot answer that question simply because I don't know what the answer is. I can say, though, that my favorite memories are time spent with my family. I remember that once when I was younger, my siblings and I would go to amusement parks with my cousins, and we'd have the best time because we were all very close. And I remember when once I came to the airport and saw my cousin Joey playing a prank on my Uncle Boy. I love my family very much, and I think that what I love most about them was that we were all very similar. And what do you mean by that exactly? Well, I don't mean to brag, but we all had an aptitude for music, particularly singing and theater, as well as being highly intelligent. It just seemed to run in the family. Also, I suppose that because of our Chinese-Filipino heritage, we all loved anime and manga. I remember that once when I was about 7 years old, our cousin Sam went to the mall and bought some Sailor Moon keychains. Oddly enough, it brought us all closer together. Jillian, past interviews from Broadway Today and Time magazine have asked you a lot about your mother. Could you tell us anything about your father? My dad, James Tan, was really the one who brought me to love music. Without him, I don't think I'd even be close to the person I became, or have become, whichever you find more suitable for this case. He was a great character. I believe that he had a special case of obsessive-compulsive disorder because he was very, very clean, and always had to have things organized a certain way, or else we would be punished. He played the piano as well, and I think that if he hadn't, I wouldn't have been as persistent to go on playing. I probably would have quit. Because he lived in the 60s, he had numerous Broadway records that he brought home from the Philippines, and when I moved to Idaho in 5th grade, I decorated my room with them because I was so in love with theater, just as I am, or was, right now. It was quite the masterpiece. You say that he had OCD. Can you recall any particular happening that highlighted this quality in your dad? Once during one of our family's New Year gatherings, when everyone was clothed in red robes and just exhausted from our Iron Chef Spam edition, my cousin Joey attempted to cook an egg. He put it in a mug and popped it into the microwave, setting it for 1 minute. After a few seconds, we all heard an ear-splitting pop that made my dad jump. He was infuriated because the microwave was a mess, and Joey learned from then on to cook eggs in water. What a funny story! I'll be sure to make sure that none of my family members ever make that mistake. Now, before this interview, you told us that you had an important story to share with us? Yes, well, I know that it's probably a hard concept to understand, but before I died, There. You don't have to share if you don't want to. No! I want to. I saw myself die. The dim and dusty lighting of the Antique Theater on Broadway Avenue was shining down directly on me. As I walked out of my 100th performance of Miss Saigon, I I felt extremely exhausted but satisfied, finding it unbelievably wonderful that my wish for the last 14 years had finally come true. The messy red carpet beneath my feet was sprinkled with glitter from the numerous Frankenfurter costumes Rocky Horror shows playing beside us in the next year. As it shined in the moonlight, I felt a chill run up my spine, and before I knew it, my soul was being torn from my body. Literally. A crazy drunk fan came up to me and asked for my autograph, and I happily obliged, but after I gave his book back to him, he began to time warp beside me. But tired and done with my day, I gave him a thumbs up and began to walk away. After I left, more people joined in the dance, and I watched from afar as I fell into a musical trance. The heavy bass and messy screams of the group vibrated against the fragile theater, and soon things got out of hand. I watched through the back window from the comfort of my limo as a lady dressed as Magenta, whose face was utterly familiar, pulled a gun from the left side of her right boot. What she did next was unbelievable. She stepped out from the crowd and into the midst of the street and shot me 5 times in the head. We'd only begun driving a few seconds ago and were therefore only a few feet from the theater, so the deed was simple. It was the most confusing, ironic event I'd ever seen. I soon felt myself shaking and coming back down to earth, and my body sat there, growing cold and losing blood faster than I could ever imagine. The red sheen of my blood and the red velvet of the limo seats contrasted and mixed, and the flashing reader board lights against the maroon hue was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Thank you for sharing that with us. I know it must be very traumatizing. Yes, it really was. You know, that night I had the strangest feeling. While walking out of the theater, I smelled sugar cane, plants that I saw all the time as a child in the Philippines. It was almost a sign that I was going to leave with the same sensation that I entered the world with. How odd. Well, thank you for this fantastic opportunity for our viewers. I don't think we'll ever have you back again, but we're glad to have had this chance. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Seen before.